What's up, guys? My name is Joannis or Joe Hatagwa. I'm a Sierra Leonean American living here in West Africa, and I want to thank you all for joining this live. I am joined today by Ivy Prosper, and while we wait for her to show up, today we're going to talk about two main news stories that happened recently, both of which I think are really important to Ghana. One is Rosario Dawson weighing in on the Jollof Wars story or argument, and then the other is United Airlines opening up travel to Ghana. So first of all, welcome, Ivy. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you. Thank you.
And so if you guys, some of you might have seen that Ivy interviewed me like 4 weeks ago now, 3 weeks ago.
I think so. Maybe longer.
Time flies. It was sometime in 2021 when Ivy interviewed me. And when we met, we definitely talked about collaborating more. And so this is just one of those. And depending on how this goes, and if you guys liked what you see, we'll definitely do more of them. Ivy, of course, as you may know, works for the Ghana Tourism Authority. So she's the foremost authority on travel to Ghana. And of course, you're Ghanaian as well. So you check two boxes for the two stories today. And so I wanted to do this with Ivy because I think she's definitely a person whose voice is one to be heard on these two topics. So yeah, with that, we're going to go over the two stories individually. We'll basically share the story. One's a video, one's the actual article itself. So I'll just give you some of the key notes of the article with what's going on with United Airlines. Then I will turn it over to Ivy to give her thoughts, and I'll give some thoughts of my own. And then we'll open it up to the viewers to add their comments, let us know what they think. If you have any questions, thoughts, we will share them with the group. So with that, let's just jump right into and if we have some time, I think we can also talk about what's been going on in our lives in Ghana and being in West Africa if we have some time. And if Ivy, you're open to it, love to maybe talk a little bit about kind of an update of where we are living on the continent. You've been here much longer than I have. For me, it's been a little over 5 months, just around 6 months on the continent. So we can do a quick update, a live update, since most people have only seen videos. You haven't heard what it's like live. So we'll do that as well. So let's jump right into the first story. So this is an interesting one. So you guys might know Rosario Dawson is working on a film, and she, if you're not familiar with her, if you ever saw He Got Game, I can't think of any other movie she was in. That's my favorite movie she was in. She was in Men in Black 2, I think, as well. I don't know if there are other ones. There are plenty of other ones. But so she's a well-known, prominent actress and successful entrepreneur in her own right. She also happens to be dating or was dating, I don't know if she's currently dating, the former presidential candidate in the United States, Cory Booker. And so she did some campaigning for him at the end of or beginning of 2020 when he was running for president. So there's a little bit about Rosario. She also has a business in Accra, Ghana. So that gives a little context here. But she was doing an interview with a local news station, and they asked her about, well, you know what, let's just jump right into it, and then we will comment on it afterwards. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and let you guys hear what she had to say. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on her opinions as it comes to jollof rice in West Africa. And then I'll give you my opinion. So here it is.
Brought up Ghana, and he's Nigerian. I'm Nigerian.
Mm-hmm. We're going into the.
Let's all do a family reunion back there.
Oh, I thought you were going to try to talk about who's better jollof rice or.
Oh no, please, we know. There's no why is there even a conversation? Honey, have you tried jollof rice before?
No, I have not.
Okay, good. Don't worry. We'll help you figure this out. There's an alleged war going on, which is not even a war. Please. It is not. When you try it, you know. Have you tried? Who you sided with, Rosario?
I mean, I'm based in Ghana, so
Maybe we'll go. Maybe we'll do a road trip.
Let's do a road trip. I haven't been back to Nigeria in a minute. Like, let's do all of it. Let's do all
We're going. Lonnie,
let's
we're going. Tell your parents, pack your bags.
I got my vaccines.
All right,
I'm ready.
Meet in Nigeria, and then we'll go to Ghana from there. Taste test. Okay.
Okay, so so that's Rosario's opinion. Definitely one to, I think, discuss. I mean, so I guess Ivy, I'd love your thoughts on that. Being Ghanaian, I know we talked about this briefly. We didn't get into the details of it, but what are your thoughts on her thoughts?
I mean, she's siding with Ghana because she's got a business in Ghana, right? So I mean, for her, that's the safe thing to do,
Right.
especially when you're coming repeatedly into the country. You don't want to, burn any bridges or have any kind of friction because of this. I think that the whole Jollof war thing, Ghanaians and Nigerians, I think that it is extreme.
Okay.
I think Jollof rice is overrated.
Oh.
I think it's overrated, whether it's from Ghana or Nigeria. I think it's overrated. And I get backlash when I say that.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't even originate from Ghana or Nigeria. It comes from the Senegambia area. And I have gone to Jollof Rice War events where they do food tasting, and that the Senegalese one has won when they do blind taste testing. They did one in Toronto a few years ago. They did blind taste testing of Jollof rice. The judges had their faces covered. They only tasted it, and they didn't know which was which, and Senegal won. So anyway, I think in general it's overrated. Wache, if you come to Ghana and you want some rice that's good, wache is better than jollof, in my opinion.
Wow. So that is very controversial. So I mean, you still took the Ghana route, right? So wache, because that's specific to Ghana, right? That is your local dish, right? That is a Ghanaian dish, wache.
I guess so.
So I guess you're still representing for Ghana, even if it's jollof rice overall to you is overrated, and that's fair. Of course, I have to disagree. And I think my thought process is, I feel like you said, like the further west countries are always left out of the discussion, right? It is always about Ghana or Nigeria. And you do forget about the S's, Sierra Leone and Senegal, and even Gambia too. In my opinion, of the three that we're talking about, so specifically Ghana, Nigeria, and Sierra Leone, I like Sierra Leone jollof the most. So, but of course, I'm also biased because I'm Sierra Leonean, right? And my mom made home cooked jollof rice, and my aunts have made it, and I've had it in different events. I'm actually technically in Sierra Leone right now, so I've been eating jollof a lot, and I'm reminded of how much I love it. So, to me, I go with Sierra Leone jollof, but I haven't had Senegalese jollof or Gambian jollof yet, so I can't really speak for everyone. And I have to qualify my experience with jollof saying this. With Ghanaians, I've had home cooked and I've had it out at restaurants, and it is good. With Nigerians, I've only had it at a banquet, and it was for like 200 people. So I don't think that necessarily counts. So I can't say with 100% certainty. So Nigerians, don't kill me, right? With 100% certainty that Ghanaian jollof is better than Nigerian jollof. Just the jollof that I've had, if I was going to rank them, I do go Sierra Leone, Ghana, Nigerian. We have some comments saying that Nigerian jollof is a scam. I don't know where that comes from. If Ebenezer, if you could elaborate, please do. I'd love to hear why you say it's a scam. This is an interesting viewpoint.
Show us on the screen. Show us Ebenezer's comments.
So this is Ebenezer's comment. Ebenezer is here saying that jollof is a scam. So Ebenezer, can you give us a little bit more? Like, why do you think it's a scam? And also, anyone else watching? So there's a few of you on. If you'd like to give your thoughts and comments on Jollof, and also even on Rosario Dawson's comments, right? I mean, obviously she has a business in Ghana, so it's the right thing to do. But do you agree with her? Do you disagree? Let us know. And while we wait for some people to write, yeah, I mean, look, this is a conversation all the time. I plan to do a Jollof Wars video. Some Nigerian friends.
Really?
Yeah, I have some Nigerian friends in Ghana. I have some Ghanaian friends in Ghana. So when I'm there, I want to do one. I do know a Nigerian here in Sierra Leone. So while I'm here, I want to see if I can get them to do. I mean, I feel like you need a neutral party, right? You can't have someone of the country deciding which one is best, right? So I feel like, yeah, I need a neutral party. So we're working on that, but we will do a jollof rice blind taste test, and I do want to basically settle the debate once for all. The challenge that I'm always going to have is there aren't Sierra Leonean restaurants in Ghana, and so
That's
to
a
find
business idea.
it is for anybody who wants to do it. I'm not a restaurateur, but if anybody thinks it's interesting enough, I don't know how big the population is. There are a lot of Sierra Leoneans that migrate to Ghana. And of course, I know they want their local home cook. A lot of times they ship stuff back and forth. So definitely, if anybody's thinking about that, they should definitely go about building that business. All right. So I think people are a little shy today and don't want to put themselves out there and mention how they feel about the jollof rice wars, because I don't think they want to be fried or, canceled for their belief systems on this. So I think we'll move on to the next topic, because that is a pretty controversial topic. But throughout this live, if you want to, feel free to weigh in on that particular debate. I think it's interesting. To me, I have my own personal bias, but I'd love to hear what other people think. All right, so next is United Airlines. So I don't know how many of you guys are aware, but last Friday, and it was Friday the 14th of May, United Airlines launched first flight for their new service to Accra, Ghana, Washington, DC. So it's a direct flight. It's operating 3 times weekly between Accra and Washington Dulles International Airport. So the flight that's leaving Washington Dulles is flight United Airlines, or UA 996. That leaves at 6:15 p.m. every Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday of every week, and lands in Accra at 8:40 a.m. the next morning. And then the return flights is UA 997, and that's scheduled to leave Accra at 11:55 p.m. Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, and that arrives in DC at 6:30 a.m. the next day. So why this is notable is, number one, United States, over 116,000 Ghanaians living in the country. So that gives the United States the 3rd largest Ghanaian population in the world. So obviously there are many people who would want to fly back and forth, especially when the changes happen following this pandemic. And it does note the first time in 10 years that they've opened back up direct flights. And that's notable because of the time, right? Flights are way down, but demand to go to Ghana is way up. As you can tell by all of the people who are doing content based on their life in Ghana, right? And people who are moving to Ghana. So I think that this is really, really interesting. But I mean, as the foremost authority, Ivy, what are your thoughts on this direct flight from Washington Dulles to Accra?
Well, I know that the tourism industry in Ghana is very happy that this flight has been resumed. Also, very largely because Ghana's biggest tourism market is the United States. So the US, the UK, parts of Europe, Canada, are all places that people travel to Ghana from. Nigeria. So actually the top one is the United States. And surprisingly, I think Nigeria is like the 2nd most traveled people that come to Ghana. So it's very, very exciting for the tourism industry to know that there's another option for Americans to come to Ghana, and it's a direct flight, because right now I believe it's only Delta that has a direct flight. Everyone else you have to go through Europe, go through the UK, go through South Africa, go through Ethiopia in order to get to Ghana. So having the direct flight will definitely encourage a lot more people, because some people don't like to be on a plane for such a long period of time, like to be on a long flight, then to have to transfer, and then to have that period of time waiting to get to your next flight. A lot of people find that to be more exhausting. It ends up being a full day, which is what Canada has. There are no direct flights from Canada. So Canadians experience that all the time, having to go through Europe, go through Ethiopia, or go through the US, UK before getting to Ghana. It's a very exhausting journey. So this travel direct from Washington, DC will be helpful, I think, especially for those on the East Coast of the United States, because those on the West Coast still have to make that journey to Washington, DC to take the flight. But it is still a great option for people to have, rather than only having the choice of doing Delta as a direct flight.
Yeah. So that's oh yeah. So okay, Delta did have a direct flight, which I was not aware of. So that's good to know. So now it's 2 options, right? Which is good to know. Yeah. So I actually came to Ghana from Sierra Leone, and I was always flying back and forth to Sierra Leone. I actually hadn't done the flight from the U.S. to Ghana, and every time I had traveled to Ghana, which was twice, was from Sierra Leone. And to get to Sierra Leone, you have to go through either Ethiopia, maybe Morocco, but you had to go through many other in Europe, right? So either was it Berlin? No, Belgium. Yeah. So there's a number of different ways to get there, but there isn't a direct flight. And so to me, that was always the biggest challenge, right? Because like you said, you lose a whole day. And especially when I was coming from Los Angeles to going to Sierra Leone, I'd stop by New York, spend a week in New York, then do the New York flight, stopping in Europe and going to Sierra Leone. So I can't wait for the day that Sierra Leone opens up direct flights. But the fact that Ghana has multiple direct flights, I think, is huge. All my friends in the US, some of you are watching, that's definitely, now there are less excuses, right? So you could get to DC and get that direct flight. I mean, obviously you have to transfer in DC to get the flight, but it's a lot easier than having to go to Europe and coming back down to Africa, right? It's you're flying to DC, and then from DC, where you're going. Most of them are in New York, LA. So those of you who are in both of those places that are watching, I expect to see more of you, because there should be no excuses now. No excuses now. So yeah, I mean, I'm really excited for it, because I think it's going to bring more people, and the more the merrier. I think really, what I've seen is people coming with good intentions, and also learning more about their heritage and just more about Black history as a whole. I think most of the time in the U.S., what I've been expressing a lot is that what we got is, at least what I got, is Black history starting at slavery in the United States. Right, there isn't much context around what happened prior to the enslavement of Africans on the continent. We're starting to learn more about that, right? Who we were as people, our tribes, cultures, right? You're noticing everybody calling each other kings and queens now, which is interesting. And being African cool now, which is cool, because it wasn't growing up. I don't know how it was for you in Canada, but it wasn't for me in the US.
It's the same.
Okay. I was called all kinds of names, but I'm cool that everyone's cool with it now. We like it. We'll take it. But I mean, learning about the history of Africans pre the transatlantic slave trade, and then what happened during it prior to them getting on the ships, I think is really, really impactful. And it really gives you a scope of the size of the enslavement, right? Something like 60 million Africans or so were enslaved, and that's a broad estimate. But the numbers state that there's somewhere around 12 million enslaved people who made it to the Americas, right? So that's 48 million people who died through that process, right? And I would never have known had I not gone to Ghana and gone to Cape Coast and Elmina Castle and getting that background. And so I think that that's really important. So I'd love to see more and more Africans in the diaspora, specifically in the U.S., catching that direct flight, either the Delta one or now the airlines flight to Ghana to learn that. So yeah.
And I think speaking about history, I think it's good for people to also get the opportunity to not only Cape Coast and Elmina, but there are other places that people can see to learn history as well. If people are willing to venture to other regions, like in the northern region, there is a place called the Golu Slave Defense Wall, and a lot of people don't know about it, but this is a wall that was built by Africans who were fighting against being captured, who were trying to protect themselves from being captured. And this is a wall that is partially still standing today. That is a tourist attraction. There's chiefs out there who know some of the history, but a lot of people don't go north. They stay in, Accra, and they stay in Cape Coast. Right. There's also in Keita in the Volta region, there's Fort Prinsenstein, which was also a slave fort that had captured enslaved Africans that were transported from there as well. That a lot of people are not aware of, because people tend to focus on the Cape Coast and Elmina ones when there's other history as well.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, obviously I didn't even know that. So I just learned something new, and now I have to go north. Now, is this north of Kumasi? How far is this?
It's like Tamale. It's the north.
North. Okay.
So you're better to fly there. Fly from Accra to Tamale.
Okay.
And then get a car, a rental to drive from there.
Okay. Sounds good. So a couple things I'm seeing in the comments. So Pro Women, they said, so going back to this Jollof discussion, he said, I like good rice. That's my answer. But she's partial to Senegalese, which is interesting. Okay. I've heard that before. Some East Africans have told me that same thing. They're partial to Senegalese. I'll have to try the Senegalese jollof. I haven't tried it yet. I have a cousin in Senegal, so I've been meaning to go. I'll have to try it, and then I'll have a more well-rounded answer. And then some other people are commenting on travel. Pro Women also said the rise of Afrobeat, African celebrities like Lupita, etc., erasing the image of Africa as a starving child with flies on them in the 80s. And the 80s Ethiopian famine. Yeah, I think that has really helped a lot. Seeing Africans in the spotlight, I think has really changed the way people see the continent. And more and more people doing content on the continent has also helped that a lot too. So like a lot of the youth content creators, that's part of why I started my YouTube channel, right, was to do something very similar, right, to offer a different viewpoint. And so, and Ivy, obviously, with the people you interview and all the work that you do, you have the opportunity to do that as well. And so, yeah, I'd like to see that this shift in the way people are seeing Africa, for sure. Somebody mentioned Caribbean people sharing the same bad experience that Africans went through in the US. I mean, in terms of, I guess what they're talking about is the transatlantic slave. So yes, I mean, Africans up in the Caribbean, right, and the Americas was, the exact same. The Willie Lynch letter is based on a person who owned enslaved Africans in the Caribbean, who actually came to the U.S. to train American enslaved African owners on how to quote unquote control your slaves. So it's definitely something that the Caribbeans went through as well. Yes, for sure. So now that we've talked about United Airlines and the Jollof War story with Rosario Dawson, maybe we could do some updates on what's going on with us in real time. Should I go first, or do you want to go first?
You can go ahead.
Okay.
Because there's something that I'm doing that I'm not talking about publicly right now. So
got it.
Go ahead. Let me sip my juice.
So, well, that's to TBD or to be announced, TBA. So for me, as most of you know who are following, I am building in Sierra Leone right now. So I'm actually currently in Sierra Leone, even though the content that I've been putting out on my YouTube channel has been in Ghana. It takes a long time to edit, and you guys know that I have a brand new channel as of February 1st, so I'm still learning how to edit. So you got to bear with me. So right now you're seeing a lot of content from Ghana, but I promise you the content from Sierra Leone is coming. I got a bunch of interviews. My birthday vlog is coming because I celebrated my birthday here in Sierra Leone earlier this month, and some weekend vlogs are coming. It's been an amazing time here in Sierra Leone, so I'm looking forward to sharing that with you all. But as many of you know, I bought a property in January of 2019 here in Sierra Leone, and I went through many different processes. I had an architect draw up a version of the house, which we ended up scrapping. We got a new architect, and I had a contractor that I hired. I'm not going to put him on blast, but some people who are probably watching this live might know the contractor. But he completely decided to get out of the contracting business and quit in the middle of the process of, well, not know, but 3 of the way, the wall, what we call the fence around the property. So when you come here to work, a lot of properties have fences around them with like barbed wire over top, just to kind of protect your property from intruders. And so I was in the middle of working on that fence, and he started a whole nother business in the US and completely neglected the contractor business where he was working for me on that. And so I, luckily though, if any of you are following my Instagram stories in December, I interviewed 6 different contractors in the event that the unimaginable like this would happen, right? I had to convince family members that this guy to work with, he is a second cousin, right? One of my best friends from my cousin, like a really close cousin who's a good friend of mine. That's his first cousin. He's a second cousin of mine. And so we thought with that close family relationship that he was going to be reliable. And so that did not turn out to be the case. So luckily I interviewed 5 others beyond him. And so the guys that I had as the second place group, those are the guys I decided to go with. So we started the process of excavating the land. So we're in the middle of that right now to flatten it out because the land kind of goes up, what did go up on a slope. So now it's pretty flat. Now we're going to build the boys' quarters as the next stage in the process. So the goal is to have the boys' quarters built by December of this year. Actually, by July or August of this year, before the rainy season starts. So that because nothing can happen during the rainy season, it has to all be done before then. And so the plan is to get it done before then. So we're working overtime right now. So the excavation is going to be completed this week. At the same time, the architect is working on the list of materials needed to build the boys' quarters based on his specifications, and then I will get an estimate on that. And once I have the estimate, then I can actually pay to start the work of the boys' quarters. The boys' quarters is basically where the house help live, but it's going to be like a decked out boys' quarters because I will be staying there when I come to town. So I don't have to stay in a hotel or stay with anybody else. And so with that, that's the process I'm going through right now. So those of you who are thinking about building on the continent, make sure you always have a backup in case they act up, right? Because you never know what can happen with your contractor, with your architect, with anyone. Things happen all the time, and you just want to make sure you are prepared for the inevitable. I don't want to say the inevitable. You're prepared for the worst, I should say, because it doesn't always have to be that way. Yeah, it's a possibility. So expect the worst and hope for the best. Yeah. So that's what's been going on with me.
I see a follow-up
comment. Okay. Okay. So there's a lot of comments here. So let's look at some of these. So Sada Jones was actually correcting me on my statement about the Caribbean. So okay, let me say really quick. Oh, Caribbean people were bullied being immigrants from poor countries by some people in America. Oh, yes. I get that. Yes. I have some of my Caribbean friends did mention that they did feel like that when they were growing up. Okay. Yes, I get that. Then Felix was asking getting done what? What is my backup? So yeah, working on a house. And my backup was having multiple contractors that I interviewed at the very beginning. So I started by interviewing 6 contractors, and that'll also be one of the videos I post on YouTube eventually. Give me some guys, but it'll go up, and I'll show you my process from start to finish. So as I build this house, you'll get a chance to see it from start to finish. I already have 4 phases that I've recorded already, from buying the house to going to the property and having it surveyed and all of that, to having to tear down a 150 plus year old, what we call a bodos, which is like a board house. That was really unfortunate because at the time I was told that you can't restore something like that, and you have to you spend more money trying to restore it and adding on to it than just tearing it down. Found later that I could have restored it, but it's too late now. So what I've decided to do, yeah, it really sucks because it was actually owned by my great grandmother. So that's unusual, right? Because she was an African woman who owned this property and built the house. And so, but what I'm going to do is I'm keeping pieces of the house and reusing it. So wood has been reused as part of the tracking for the fence. So that's in the ground right now because it can't really be reused for the house itself. As you can imagine, it's really old wood.
Right.
Some of the tin that was used on the house is going to be used for what I'm going to be doing is like a car cover, like a car park. And so some of that tin is going to be used on the main house itself. And then a lot of the stones from the main house are being used as the foundation and the ground itself on the property. So I'm still using a lot of the materials that were in the main house. And she planted a tree. It's a dita tree, which is one of the local fruits here in Sierra Leone. She planted it over 150 years ago, and it was a dying tree, so we did have to cut it down. And so I'm going to actually use the tree stump as a coffee table in the house. So we're actually in the yeah. So I'll share that with everyone in my video. But right now they're in the middle of like cutting it and just kind of flattening it out, and we're gonna do everything. You know, we're gonna like sand it and yeah. I'm really excited about that because that's really a piece of family history. I mean, my mother used to go to this house to pick the fruit off of this tree when she was a kid because it was her grandmother's house because she had moved to her father had a house somewhere else, and so this was her mother's house, and so and it's the lineage goes up on my mother's side, her maternal side, and so so yeah, I kept it in the family. I'm going to do what I can to try to keep the history alive because I think it's really cool. And and oh yeah, so Felix mentioned eco-friendly. So that's the other thing. I'm building the house in an eco-friendly manner as much as possible. So I'm using hydropower and solar power as much as I can. Now there's some debate around batteries that are used to store solar power and how eco-friendly they are because disposing of the batteries. So there's
really?
a debate. Yeah, there's actually a huge debate, especially the oil and gas guys, right? Of course, I think it's not a good faith argument a lot of times, but there are people who do look at it objectively, and you can argue that we don't have a great waste disposal management system for batteries, and these are like giant batteries, and so today technology is not strong enough to store solar panels power and then reuse it throughout the night. It has to be used to basically to charge a battery and have the battery run at night, right? And so that battery, when its life, the lifespan has been used up or shelf life is over, you do have to dispose of it. And the question is, how well do we dispose of these batteries? So yeah, so I am going to try to use hydropower as much as possible because if you have water on tanks or water in these hydropower systems and they're on the rooftop, because you have 15 hours of sunlight per day, it heats it up, which turns it into steam, which can turn it into power. I'm not a scientist, but the way I understand it is that's how it works. And so I do want to make the house eco-friendly. So yeah, so that is the plan right now. And so we're in the middle of building the voice quarters as we speak. So that's the update.
Okay.
So I'm just looking at the comments here to see if there's anything that I'm missing. Oh yes, so yeah, Power Woman. I am going to be sharing videos in the next 2 or 3 months or so. So Felix is asking, who is Ivy? Ivy, do you want to do a little bit of it? We did an intro for Ivy at the beginning of the video, but for those who may have joined a little later, Ivy, maybe I'll let you say who you are and what it is that you do for those who joined a little late.
All right. So for those who joined the live stream later and missed the introduction, my name is Ivy Prosper. I also have a YouTube channel, which is my name, Ivy Prosper. And I'm the social media manager for Year of Return and Beyond the Return campaigns under Ghana Tourism Authority. I've worked as a documentary producer and a writer. I wrote a book that's been published on Amazon called Your Essential Guide on Moving to Ghana. I have been living in Ghana since 2016. I used to live in Canada. I also lived in Ghana 2011, 12, and 13. At that time, I was hosting a television show called the Maternal Health Channel TV series, where I traveled almost the entire country covering stories on why women are still dying in high numbers in Ghana after childbirth. So that was an interesting series that I worked on. Then the documentary series I worked on in 2017, 2018, that was more food security, food documentary. We filmed some in Kenya as well as Ghana. And then since 2019, I've been working with Ghana Tourism Authority. So that's me in a nutshell. And so the both of us being content creators, it was great for us to collaborate, have conversations. I've interviewed Joe on my channel. He's interviewed me. That will be on his channel soon as well. So he invited me to come on today and have this conversation. And I'm really honored that you asked. Thank you for having me here today, Joe. And so far, it's been a good conversation.
Yeah, absolutely, it has been, and I'm honored that you agreed to do it. So yeah, Ivy's being a little modest. She has quite the following on YouTube, and so I was happy that she asked to interview me. I did an interview with Vanessa Camby. I think that's. Wait, did you see my channel before then, or is that how you were introduced?
I saw a video of you and the YouTuber friend of yours doing like a top 10 before I saw the one of Vanessa. So I already wanted to interview you, and then I saw the Vanessa video. Yeah.
Okay. And by the way, my father was forwarded your interview of me. Somebody sent it to him. Yeah, somebody sent it to him and was like, "Is this your son? I'm pretty sure this is your son." But they didn't recognize me because of the beard now, so they hadn't seen it in a few years. But he was like, "Oh yeah, that is my son. Yeah, I guess he's on YouTube." So so that was cool. So that was shared pretty widely. And I met somebody recently. I'm actually where I'm staying right now is owned by a Ghanaian, and he also saw your interview of me. And as I was about to check into this room that I'm staying in, he happened to come up to talk to the manager, and he looked at me and he was like, "Have I seen you on YouTube?" And I was like, "I don't know. I don't have that many subscribers on YouTube. Maybe, I guess, maybe." And so he was like, "Yeah, I saw an interview. You were interviewed by a Ghanaian. She works for Ghana Tourism Board." I was like, "Oh, yes, that is." Yes, so yes, you did see that interview. So thank you for interviewing me. I think it helped you get some exposure, and so that's been great. And I'm hoping it gets me a discount at the place that I'm staying. So we'll see. We'll see. Clyde, what's up? So Clyde is a good high school friend of mine that's on the chat who's watching live. Clyde, good to see you.
Let's see Clyde. Yeah. What's he saying? What's he saying?
Oh, he just says because my dad saw it. He said it was a coincidence.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Thanks for reminding me to post this up here. See, I'm new to this, guys. Ivy is a pro, so she's letting me know what to do. So it's good to see you too, Clyde. So Felix is asking, Ivy is a public figure. I would say yes, right? I would consider you a public figure, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I've been doing this for a long time, even before YouTube, really. I mean, I've done journalism work before, so I've interviewed a lot of different high-profile people in my career. So it's something that I've become accustomed to talking to people. I've always enjoyed interviewing people, even before I got into the media space, because before that I was working in fashion. And when we were kids, there was a time when we were kids, and my dad had this video camera, and then we pretended to do a talk show and like I was the person interviewing, and my siblings were pretending to be the guests. So I've always liked to do stuff like this.
Yeah, I mean, and you're great at it. And actually, you actually do different kinds of work in the space, right? I think you mentioned it already, so I don't know if you asked that, but yeah, your interviews are great. I watched a few of them, and I've watched mine selfishly, of course I would. And yeah, you're great at interviewing. You pull out a lot of good information. And your book, I've been meaning to buy it. I am going to buy your book because I know I know that now. So you've done so there was two versions, right? There was the original, and then now you have the updated one with
yeah,
resources,
the updated one is even old now, like by our worldly standards. People like stuff to be so instantaneous now.
Yeah.
Because I originally published my book on moving to Ghana in 2018. January 2018 was when I published it. And then I did an update in January 2019. So the second edition of your Essential Guide on Moving to Ghana was published in 2019. So most recently, there's a book coming out that's written by Diallo Sumbri, who's the first African-American tourism ambassador to Ghana, and he's also the CEO of the Adinkra Group. So he has a book coming out called A Smart Ghana Guide to Repatriation. And he asked me to be one of the contributors to the book. So that one is coming out this week. So it's his book, but I'm one of the people who's contributed to his book. So that's something that I've been promoting recently because I was one of the contributors to that book as well. I do want to write another one. It's finding the time.
Sure.
But I think I want to go in the direction of possibly fiction based on reality. So we'll see.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm actually about to share your book here. I can share it right in the comments, and they'll be able to.
Yes, you can. Yeah, you can.
Click on it. So yeah, this is my first time doing a live, guys. So appreciate
You're
you
doing
all
great.
joining. Thanks. Appreciate you all joining. I think this is really going to definitely do more of these. And if you guys have any questions for comments, or if you have questions for content that you'd like for me to do, if you want to see Ivy and I do more of these lives to do things around what's happening in Ghana and West Africa, in our lives, we'd be happy to start doing more of it. We wanted to do this kind of as a test run. There were some pretty newsworthy stories that we wanted to talk about, but also to make sure that we're giving you guys value. So if there's anything you guys want to hear from us, please do let us know. My guy Vernon shouted me out. What's up, son? That's an inside joke. Did we lose Ivy? I think we might have lost Ivy. Can you guys still hear me? Let me know if you guys can still hear me. Or did I get dropped off?
No, I got dropped off.
Okay. Oh, you gotta love the internet in West Africa.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Well, okay. Let me open it up to the audience for any last questions, comments, anything you want to hear from us. So, Ghana Playlist says, when you coming on Clubhouse? Great question.
I'm on Clubhouse.
I'm also on Clubhouse.
I don't go on it very often, but I'm on there.
Same here. Last time I was on Clubhouse was 2020.
Wow.
So it's been a minute. I think maybe at some point in time in 2021, I might have got in one room, but when it was still like exclusive and they were like exclusive rooms, I did meet a lot of interesting people planning to move to the continent. And so people on the continent. So they were like, I was in like a Yoruba Demons group chat, which was interesting. This whole thing about Yoruba men, it was very interesting. But Nigerians have a lot of interesting clubhouses. I didn't know what I was jumping into. I just jumped into this and I was like, wow, this is a pretty wild one. But I've been in other rooms as well. So I've definitely listened in, haven't led any rooms. I've had some friends that are running some rooms. I've been asked to run some. I've thought about it. I just need to know that there's enough demand for it and need to know what topics people want to hear from us. I mean, I'm already on these other platforms. And so I tend to want to stick to what I know best. But if you guys think that there is an audience and there's things that you guys want to hear, please let us know and we can talk about it. So Ghana playlist. If you go to on my YouTube channel, you're watching this on YouTube, go to the About Me and shoot me a message in my email in the About Me. And I'd be happy to talk to you about starting a room. So here was Ghana playlist's recommendation. Start a room so we can follow, bring hot topics we want to discuss. Oh, you can donate there. See that right there? That last piece was the unique selling proposition I needed. That you can donate. I like that. So that's interesting. If you guys so choose, of course. And what is Sade saying? Can you see the impact of all the repats are making on the culture and life in general in Ghana? I'll pose that to Ivy as well. But in my opinion, the impact I've only been there 5 months. To see an impact would be, I can't say that I have seen an impact as of yet, but I can say what I have. Well, yes, not on Ghana, but on other repats. So it makes for a softer landing when there are other people who have made the move back to the continent. So that for me has been the biggest impact, right? So, I've moved from New York to LA, from Pennsylvania to New York, from New York to Florida, right? Those are all very different places in the United States, but that is completely different from West Africa, right? And so when you're moving to the continent, it is good to have people who've had that experience to make for a softer landing and to help you adjust to the lifestyle and just understand what it's like living on the continent. So for sure, I can say that that's been the biggest impact, at least for me personally. I haven't seen how it's impacted Ghana as a country just because I haven't been there long enough. But maybe Ivy, you've been there. You're a twice returnee, so maybe you have a broader perspective.
There's definitely an impact that's been made, because with any migration of people to any country, there's going to be an impact. It's just like,
sure.
You see that. So for example, there's more doctors from Nigeria in the United States than in Nigeria. They've left Nigeria and gone to the United States. There's more Nigerian doctors in the United States. So those doctors are in the United States impacting the medical and healthcare system by the work they do. Now, think about the migration of people from the diaspora, Black people from America, from the UK, from Canada, from the Caribbean, from South America, making that journey to the continent and bringing their talents and their skills and their knowledge to the continent of Africa, whether it's Ghana or Nigeria or Tanzania or Kenya or Sierra Leone, wherever they choose to go. They are going to make an impact based on the knowledge that they have, based on the skills that they have when they come in and start to work with the community. Because when you come, you don't work by yourself. You can't work by yourself. You're working with the people who are there. So you are, in a sense, making an impact in whatever industry you've chosen to be in. And there's definitely a difference that's being made, because these countries are all seeing little growths in their economies as a result of people coming and making a difference, people coming and starting businesses. Like I know somebody who came and started a tech business in Ghana, and now his tech business is a multi-million-dollar business, and he employs people, so people are coming and making an impact, especially those who start successful businesses.
Sorry, guys.
He's getting a phone call. Busy man.
Yeah, So I think that sums it up right there. I couldn't have said it any better. That makes perfect sense. I'm not going to add to that because you said everything. But so Felix had a question about what are repats. So these are repatriates. I might have used it incorrectly because technically I meant expats. But repats would be people who are actually Ghanaian citizens, right, who leave to go to the diaspora and move back, right? So I'm talking about expats and repats. So I do know some Ghanaians who maybe were born, went to elementary, middle, and high school in Ghana, but then went to the US for college and then moved back to Ghana. And then I also know expats who are just basically immigrants. That's another name for immigrants. So other people from other nationalities in Ghana. I know more repats in Sierra Leone because I'm of Sierra Leonean descent. And so, of course, when I come to Sierra Leone, I see more people who were born here, moved to the US or somewhere else and moved back. So yeah, so that is what a repat. I hope I answered that question. Felix also asked, are you two learning Twi? So Twi, well, you can speak to that. I know the answer for you, but please.
Felix, yes, I can speak Twi. Mitmika Twi papa. Send me mami no mami siang. I can speak Twi. I can understand it. I can understand it better than the way I speak it because people talk about my accent when I speak it, but I can speak it. And I can understand it. The Twi that I have a difficulty with is when you go deep into the village and it's like the old style, like my grandmother had spoken the old Twi. So it's like old English versus new English. So it's like there's words that she would use that people don't even use anymore.
Right.
But overall, I can speak Twi. As far as Spanish, I love the Spanish language. It's one of the most, to me, it's one of the most beautiful languages in the world. I was learning Spanish. I was becoming very good at it, and I've completely forgotten it all. I think it was like 15 years ago when I was learning it. And at the time, I was living somewhere where there was a Spanish community that used to go to a particular grocery store. So I would purposely go to that grocery store and just walk around, even though I'm not buying anything, just so that I can have a conversation with people to try to practice my Spanish. But I've totally forgotten it all. I would need to start all over again. But people say that it's like in the brain somewhere, and if you're forced to be in an environment to use it, that it all comes back.
Yeah. And so I guess I can answer the question. So Tree, I can say Madasi. I can say Entisen.
Yes.
Yeah. So Akwaba. So there are a few words, right? But I'm still trying to get fully fluent in our pidgin in Sierra Leone. So I'm taking baby steps moving towards Ghana, right? But first I need to get some of the local languages in Sierra Leone. And I'm also working in real time to try to do as much as I can in Ghana as well. So I did, and I'm editing the video over the next 2 weeks. So I did do 25 phrases and words that you should know in Ghana Tree. So
really? I can't wait to see that video.
Oh, it's being edited as we speak, but it was a local Ghanaian who helped me out with it. She was very patient because I had a hard time with pronouncing a lot of the words. So that's coming soon. So you'll be entertained by that because for sure I had some challenges. But I am attempting. Yeah, it should be interesting. And as it pertains to Spanish, so I took Spanish through school. We had 3 languages to choose from: French, German, and Spanish. I took Spanish, so I know very basic Spanish, and I know enough to say, like, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I need to go to the bathroom. Where is? Do you speak English? So I know how to say those kinds of things. So when I went to Spain, I could get around. I'm more like with the phrases. Like I could do a quick phrase, 2-3 words. If you speak slowly, very slowly, I can pick up on context clues to kind of understand what you're talking about. But I am by no means fluent. I probably speak Spanish a 1-year-old. That's probably my my understanding level. So yeah, that would be my level of Spanish speaking. Sources TV said that you guys should start promoting Beyond the Return. That is what you do in your day job, Ivy, right? So can you talk a little bit about how you're working with these folks and what campaigns you guys are working on Beyond the Return? So people like the person behind Sources TV and those watching can find out more about what's going on with Beyond the Return?
I think that, thanks for your question. I think that one of the things that people have to understand is that Beyond the Return is a 10-year campaign with the theme of a decade of African Renaissance. So 2020 to 2030, it's a decade of a term change.
Ivy,
And
sorry.
it's not
Sorry to interrupt. I muted you when I was trying to make you solo. So so we lost you a decade, and then I completely
okay, so I'll
muted
start
you.
over again. So it looks like I was muted
Sorry.
for a bit. So I'll start over again. So Beyond the Return is a 10-year initiative with the theme A Decade of African Renaissance. So 2020 to 2030, this decade is supposed to be about an African renewal, about growing and developing. A lot of people think it's focused on events. So when people say, why don't we promote it? They're thinking about promoting a party, promoting an activity, promoting something going on. But it's not about just about things that are going on for events. Like people associate Year of Return in 2019 as being only the month of December when there were a lot of events happening. But Year of Return was actually a full year, January 1st, 2019 to December 31st, 2019, full year activity, full year campaign, which was acknowledging the 400 years since the first documented ship of enslaved Africans arrived in the U.S. in August 20th, 1619. So that whole premise of the year was about acknowledging August 20th, 1619. And so Beyond the Return came about because of all of the things that people were saying after your return, like what's next, what now, people have come. And so all of the questions people had, Beyond the Return has developed out of that. So it's 7 pillars that are the foundation of Beyond the Return. And all of these things could be happening at any given time. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're high profile, that everybody sees something going on. So for instance, there's 7 pillars. So the one pillar that a lot of people will notice, which is associated with events, would be the Experience Ghana pillar. So that would be regarding events and tourism. We all know that tourism has had a severe decline because of the pandemic. So that's been severely affected. Although, yes, people are still coming to Ghana, the numbers aren't the way they were in previous years. There's been a significant drop from 2020 to now. It's been significant. And then there's the Celebrate Ghana pillar. So the Celebrate Ghana pillar is all about celebrating traditions like traditional festivals. So you'll see the chiefs and the queen mothers, and they have these durbers and these dancing, like they have these festivals that happen in different regions. Like every region has different festivities that happen throughout the year at different times of the year. So a lot of people, when they came to Ghana for Year of Return, they were like, okay, we came for events, we came for activities, but what about some of the traditional cultural things? So Celebrate Ghana is about focusing on that. Then there is Brand Ghana, which is about branding the country. So when you think of France, you might think of the Eiffel Tower. You think of New York, you think of the Statue of Liberty. What do you think of when you think of Ghana? So I know that the tourism industry is looking at ways to brand the country in a way that people think of certain things when they think of Ghana. Then there's Give Back Ghana, which is about giving back to the community. So people would come and they're like, okay, so I've come to Ghana, I've had a great time, I've loved doing this and doing that, but what can I do to give back? Because as much as there's positive and great things in Ghana, there's also the challenges that some of the local community face. And people think, well, what can I do to give back? So there's people who've done things to give back under the Give Back Ghana pillar, but it's not something that people always make announcements about. Because some people want to give back, but they don't necessarily want to be in the public eye to show that, hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Yes, lots of people want to show what they do, and there's people who do that. But then there's a lot of people who are like, I don't want to be known that this is what I'm doing. I just want to do it and help this community over here. So there was a group of African Americans, men in a fraternity, and they chose to commission boreholes, and they have a mission to commission boreholes across the country to give access to water to some of the communities that don't have access to water. So far, in the Year of Return, they did 2, and since then, they've just continued doing them, and now they've done, I think, almost 50 boreholes in different parts of Ghana, and they plan to keep continuing on doing this because they believe that everyone should have access to water. So that's an example of doing something to give back to the community. Then there's also things like there's basketball players, there's athletes who come to Ghana and they have these clinics. There's a NFL football player who came recently, and I can't remember his name. I'm sorry, because I don't really pay attention too much to the NFL. but there was a player who came recently, and he did an American football clinic for youth, you know, and that was his way of giving back to the Ghanaian community, because some of these youth would never have someone to train them. You know, a couple of years ago during Year of Return, there was a football player who also came and did the same thing. There's a basketball player who came and did that too. There's a WNBA player here right now who's doing a basketball camp for youth. So giving back is in different ways. Then there's the Promote Pan-African Heritage and Innovation. And that one is about Pan-Africanism and then innovative things, and also focusing on some of the neglected areas that are historical that people don't know about. I mentioned earlier in this live chat about the Golu Defense Wall in the north of Ghana, which is a heritage site a lot of people don't know about. They built that wall during the times when they were being captured as enslaved Africans. And so we want to try to profile more of those sites and let people know that there's places like that. There's the Salaga slave market that a lot of people don't know about. That's also in the northern area of Ghana too. So there's different parts of the country people aren't aware of, that there is history and historical things that people need to know. So profiling those things as well. And then, did I miss one? How many is that? I think I may have missed one.
I wasn't keeping count, to be honest.
I think I missed one.
At least 6. I don't know if you got all 7.
I missed one. And now it's, and then there's Invest in Ghana. So the Invest in Ghana pillar, that one gets a lot of high profile because people want to come and invest in properties. They want to invest in business. They want to know how to do business in Ghana. So with the Invest in Ghana, the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, GIPC is their acronym, is heavily involved. They head the committee for that and help with, you know, collaborating to find ways to help the diaspora in doing business in Ghana. They've also started a diaspora investment desk. There is a Instagram page for that, and I think it's called the Diaspora Investment Desk on Instagram. And their goal is also about giving information to the diaspora communities when they want to come to Ghana and do business in Ghana. So all of these encompass Beyond the Return. So it's not something that is about a party here and a party here, an event here, an event there. Yes, there will be upcoming events, and there were events that had happened in 2020 despite the pandemic. Some things happened in November and in December. Early January, there was a couple of things. But then once the president made the announcement that there were different strains of COVID and stuff, and he was like, he basically said that events had to be reduced. We haven't really promoted events to that respect because of that. Because at the end of the day, Beyond the Return is under Ghana Tourism Authority, which is under the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, which is under the government of Ghana. So they work as best to follow the protocols that the president gives when it comes to if he's making an announcement that you shouldn't be doing events, then a government agency is not necessarily going to promote big events. When I think there was a time when he said no weddings and no funerals or something. So at that time there was no events or anything that was happening. But now things are getting better, and I think things are easing a little bit. So we're looking towards reviewing events in the near future. An announcement would be made via social media. Our social media pages on Instagram and Facebook is Beyond the Return. So an announcement would be made there when the time comes to start promoting upcoming events. One thing for sure that I know is coming is PanaFest, which is a Pan-African festival that's been going on since the early 90s in Ghana. It's a biannual Pan-African festival. So it's happening this year. I believe it's July 23rd up until August 1st. And most of the activity happens in Cape Coast. Some of it's in Accra, but the majority of it happens in Cape Coast.
Cool. Very thorough answer to that question. So if you're wondering what's going on with Beyond the Return, there's a lot. And I was not aware of all of that. So I'm glad this question was asked. All right, so we're a little over, we're a little over an hour. And so maybe just 2 more questions that I saw here. Ivy, I don't know if you have more time, but maybe just 2 more, and then we can call it a night. What do you think?
I'm okay. I'm okay with another 15, 20 minutes. I'm okay.
Okay, so let's see if other questions come in then. So let's throw this one up. This question was, how does it feel to be free? This is what I think about when I watch repat channels like yours. So yeah, how does it feel to be free? Is a great question. I've been interviewing people here in Sierra Leone, a lot of repats, and And that's the word that they've all used to describe their experience moving back, is a sense of freedom. So, I think it means something different to everyone, but for sure, I think what it means to me is a different lifestyle. To be free, I think for me means that I don't live in fear of the police, right? So like if I'm asked to get out of my vehicle or a police officer stops me, I'm just like, okay, it's a conversation. I'm not in fear of my life. I don't think, officer, what can I do to comply with you? What do you
Yeah.
need to do? I have to do all of that, right?
Yeah.
So there's freedom in that. There's freedom in the sense that, when I'm talking to my colleagues at work, it's not through the lens of whatever they think a person who looks like me is, right? It's just, and then maybe it's about what they think about people from the diaspora, but I don't mind that because I'm still one of them, right? I'm also a minority here. Really hard thing to describe. It's a hard thing to describe, but once you're here, you get it. And so, it feels great to be free and to see other people talking about their experiences and getting their experience has been amazing to me. I love to see someone else doing it. I'm following so many other I'm subscribed to so many people doing. Yeah, it feels amazing to answer your. I didn't have anything to add.
I mean, you've said it all. I mean, you don't. I don't ever think about being a Black person because almost everyone around me is. So it's not something I think about.
Sure.
Whereas in Canada, it's like you always were aware that you were the only Black person in the room somewhere. Maybe you're the only Black person in a position. And then you also think about, okay, if someone doesn't hire you for something, sometimes you just know these nuances that race had to do with some of the situations. You don't ever think about that here. Like in Ghana, I don't think about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to describe. Just make the trip, guys. Save up. You can fly DC direct. Now we know there's two airlines, Delta and United Airlines. But for them, they have direct flights. So trip. Okay. There's a question for you. Okay. This question is about citing other countries as part of the year of return. Shout out to Sierra Leone. Somebody finally recognized us when they put us in the list of countries because we never get thrown in there. Shout out to us. Is that something that the Ghanaian Tourism Authority is talking to some of the other ECOWAS countries about doing?
I'm not aware of any specific conversations. I do know that there's other organizations that have reached out to people in Ghana for consulting to get advice on doing their own similar activities. So, for example, Liberia is doing something later this year, which I don't remember the title of it, but it's somewhere along the line like what Ghana has done. So Liberia is doing like this reunion thing to bring diasporans to Liberia. I think it's from November 2021 until December 2022. So they're doing like this full year campaign in Liberia starting in November. So they're also doing something. And I do know somebody who in Ghana who said that he consulted on it with them to give them some advice and tips and stuff. So it's not that it'll be absorbed because year of return itself is finished because it was 2019. 2019 is done. It was marking the 400-year anniversary of that ship that 20 enslaved Africans arrived in Virginia. So now it's beyond the return. So other countries have talked about doing things to encourage people to come there. I don't know that other countries would do it at the same level that Ghana did. I'm interested to see how Liberia's is going to turn out because it seems like they're being advantageous and want to do something very big. And they have quite a history because I know that they had, and if I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong on this, I'm vaguely remembering that there were enslaved people in North America who were brought back to Africa, and some of them were brought to Liberia and Sierra Leone, if I'm not mistaken. So I know that they're going to, lean on that history with this whole thing that they're doing for this coming year. But I think all these West African countries where a lot of the transatlantic slave trade happened all have a history to share, and they all have something. I think it's really interesting that, and I'll ask you this, Joannes, what you think about the fact that Sierra Leone is the only country that is offering automatic citizenship if your DNA test proves that you have lineage to Sierra Leone. The other countries are not doing that, including Ghana. Ghana doesn't do that. People have to go through a process of applying for citizenship. But with them, if you do the DNA and it proves you have ancestry, you get it. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think other countries should do it?
Yeah, I 100% think other countries should do it. And so, yeah, I mean, that's hugely important. I mean, I think from Sierra Leone's perspective, right? I mean, we're doing something we can to jumpstart tourism, right? I feel like maybe some other countries aren't as eager to do it because maybe they feel like they may not need it. But yeah, I mean, on that point, right? I mean, I know you've interviewed people who've their African ancestry. I was in Sierra Leone in 2019, and some of the Gullah people, those of you who are in my age range who watched Nickelodeon, there was a show called Gullah Island, and that was actually off the coast of South Carolina. And the Gullah people are actually direct descendants of Sierra Leoneans.
Yeah.
And so they actually had a whole bunch of people come back to Sierra Leone that year, and I met a bunch of them. And there was like a whole thing that they did. They did city tour and did a whole bunch of stuff. And so that's one that continues to come back. But yeah, I mean, I think it's hugely important for Sierra Leone for us to do that. And I'm proud of the fact that we are doing that. I got my dual citizenship because the previous president rewrote the Constitution that said that if both of your parents were born in Sierra Leone, that you could get your dual citizenship. That actually had been written out of the Constitution for reasons I won't get into. It's politics here, but it got written back into the Constitution. So that allowed me to get my dual citizenship. But I mean, both of my parents were born and raised in Sierra Leone, had that added benefit. But those who decide you want to do your ancestry, there are a lot of people who decide not to for different reasons, and it's definitely a personal decision. But if you find that your lineage traces back to Sierra Leone and you can get your dual citizenship, there are a lot of benefits. Number one is ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States. I think, if I'm not mistaken, 21 or 22 different countries. Those are all countries that you can travel to without a visa to Africa. That's hugely important, right? I go back and forth to Ghana with no visa. I don't have to think about it, right? Although my friends who were American who came had to get visas, they had to send their passport in to, do all that stuff. I don't even know what that looks like anymore. I haven't done that in years, right? So after getting it, if you can and you have traced your lineage back to Sierra Leone, 100% get your dual citizenship. I do think you have to come to Sierra Leone to get your dual citizenship, though. I don't think it gets awarded to you from the U.S. So you do have to be in Sierra Leone. It is a reason to come. Let me know if you're deciding to come. I can give you all tips that I can. I'm actually doing the top 10 things I wish I knew before I came. So there'll be videos on my channel about it too. But feel free to reach out to me if you are planning to go. If you find out that your heritage is Sierra Leonean. But yeah, I mean. So not only that, but then you can also go to countries that maybe your home country can't go to. So, for instance, I think it's fine now with Cuba, but for a while, Americans couldn't go to Cuba. But on my Sierra Leone passport, had I had it, I would have been able to go to Cuba, right? So things like that, right? So there are things that it opens up for you that you may not even think about, right? If there's like a trade embargo with your company in another country. Your dual citizenship allows you to travel on that passport and go to where you need to go on that passport. So me, it's the reason why I was able to go to Ghana, without any issues for the year of return. And when I moved to Ghana, of course, I flew without having to get a visa again because I had the ECOWAS passport. So for sure, if you can't do it. And also, I mentioned too, there are Sierra Leonean programs like the one I just mentioned. It's not at the same scale as was done in Ghana, right? I don't know if Sierra Leone is ready yet. I don't know if we have the infrastructure as of yet. There are so much challenges with when you land in Sierra Leone and getting to the capital city, you don't drive from the air to the capital city because it's about a drive from the peninsula. You actually have to take a boat. And so for those of you who are seasick, you may have to come with some of that medication you take for seasickness, and it's about a 45-minute ride.
You're saying you have to take a boat across from the airport?
You do, yeah. And so that poses some challenges. They used to have helicopters. Don't really tend to take those anymore. Even if you are, high net worth individual, still tend to take their own like private speedboat. Maybe they have a speedboat that they can charter, or there's a Seabird, Sea Coach, and there's the ferry that the general public takes. But you have to take a boat across the water. It's about 45 minutes. And so, so from when you get to the airport to when you get to mainland Freetown, it's usually about 2 hours. So that does pose some challenges just in terms of time. Just forewarning for those. But once you get to Freetown and you get a chance to get into the city, it's a different road, and I think it's worth doing, especially if you come from Sierra Leone. So, that was a long way to answer your question, Pro Women. But that is how I would respond to that. And then lastly, Sade said it'd be nice to see if Ghana highlighted the pre-slavery history. She mentioned that they mentioned, I should say, it is important that Black people know that we Black people had positive things happening before slavery. I know that Ghana does, but since you're the Ghanaian on this conversation, I'd let you speak to it. But can you speak to where and how people can find that information, whether in Ghana or elsewhere, on the history pre-slavery in Ghana?
I think that what happens is that a lot of people, when they come to Ghana, the focus becomes the slavery story, because when people come from the diaspora communities who've spent their lives not knowing their history, that is the first thing that they want to see. It's the first thing that a lot of them, not all, but a lot of them want to see. Did this really happen? Where was it? What were the conditions? I need to see for myself. I need to know what my ancestors went through. So I think it's like the first port of call for a lot of people when they come and make the journey. And so it ends up getting highlighted also because the slave forts in Ghana are considered World Heritage historical sites. So because they're historical sites, they are maintained because of the fact that they're historical landmarks. And so what you end up having is people having a strong interest in that, also because people are experiencing racism that is a direct result of all of the things that happened during the transatlantic slave trade, and the way that Black people were mistreated. So a lot of people want to go and see, where it all started. And I think that's how it ends up getting caught up in that. There is pre-slavery history. A lot of people don't necessarily make the effort to go look for it. And, great suggestion to say that it should be promoted more. I know that right now, Ghana has embarked on a new project, which is the Pan-African World Heritage Museum. They have broke ground to start building it, and this is a World Heritage Museum promoting Pan-Africanism, and the history and Pan-Africanism. So it's a more positive history of Black people and Pan-Africanist in the way of bringing people together as a people, no matter where you're from in the world as a Black person. So kind of in line with the vision of people like Kwame Nkrumah, W.E.B. Du Bois. So in Ghana also, with promoting Pan-Africanism, also with the W.E.B. Du Bois Center. The George Padmore Library is also a place that has a promoting of Pan-Africanism. And if you're willing to do, I know the University of Ghana's history department, African Studies department, they do tours if you want to go and see their archaeological department and go and learn history. I went to the archaeology department a couple of years ago, and I went and toured there. They have like a small museum there that you can see a lot of different artifacts from Ghana that you see. You see like old clay pots, you see all these old different things that, have been recovered that tell the stories of Ghanaian people, during certain times, hundreds of years ago. And so it's great. I had a great conversation with one of the archaeologists in the department there about so many different things that I learned. And so if you want to learn that kind of stuff, you have to make the effort to look for those things because they do exist. They just don't get as much of a high profile as the slave fort stories do, unfortunately.
Yeah, and so and I think we lost for that you mentioned where this was. Was this at Kotoka University? Where was it you met the archaeologist?
At the University of Ghana, Legon campus.
Okay, University of Ghana, Legon campus. And then those of you who are asking about how to do it from the diaspora, there is a YouTube channel that I follow called Home Team History. And this guy does these deep dive views of different African civilizations. And he really changed the way I see a lot of things about African history. Because you hear the bad faith argument that Africans were enslaving other Africans, right? And that's something that maybe racist people say when you bring up the Atlantic slave trade, right? And it was really interesting to talk about the context of the 1600s. I'm not going to go into it all now, especially because he's the expert on that. So I would just say go to his channel, watch his videos, and look for that. But there are definitely people who have done the research and have made it easy digestible for you. So you don't necessarily have to go read about it. Look at that. The history of indigenous slavery in Africa.
In Ghana.
In Ghana, from the 15th to the 19th century. So there's a book. And if you're like me, who has reading comprehension issues, there's always a YouTube channel. But you want to make sure that the person has some real context. Maybe what I'll do is all of the resources that have been mentioned here, we'll put in the description of this video on YouTube and wherever else you do this, so that you can access those resources there. Because I think they're really good for all of you to kind of review and to utilize for the different things that we talked about today.
It's been a great conversation today.
It has been. I was breaking up a little bit. So the channel is called Home Team History. I'm pretty sure it's called Home Team History on YouTube. So check that out. Let me actually, you know what? While we're on, let me just double check to see if that's what it's called. Yes, it is Home Team History because it's showing up in my search right away, actually. It's definitely worth a subscribe for sure. Like if you don't know it, now you know. Let me just put it in the chat. Home Team History. So go ahead and click that link. Oh, and also make sure you subscribe to Ivy Prosper's channel, and it's just like how it's phonetically spelled, how it's pronounced. It's literally IVY PROSPER, Ivy Prosper, which I think is a pretty dope name.
Oh yeah, people think I made it up. This is my real name. It's on my birth certificate.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. So yeah, you can find the channel. You might already be subscribed to her if you're watching this because you may have come to her channel. You might have come to my channel from her. So yeah, this Ivy, I really do appreciate you taking the time. You took an hour and 20+ minutes out of your day to do this with me, and I really appreciate it. Yeah, I hope all of you who watched found this interesting and got a lot from it. If you did, please do let us know in the comments like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends. Make sure to let us know what content you'd like to see from us next. If there's anything else you'd like to see, we'd be more than happy to share it with you all and to maybe do more of these if you'd like to see more of them. So with that, it's all for watching, and we'll see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.
Bye.